a set of two types of Alright, hello everybody. So today I was thinking I would do like a what I eat in a day. I am currently almost 17 weeks along in my pregnancy. I am a type 2 diabetic, so I am high risk. And then also I'll be turning 35 in the spring. So I'm technically considered like the geriatric pregnancy as well. So I'm just high risk altogether. With that being said, since I am a diabetic, I am on a very strict carb counting type of diet. I am in no means a professional. I am not a dietitian, but I just wanted to share with you guys what works for me. So basically, every day, I mean, you can't be perfect every day. I do have two types of insulin that I use. I have a long acting and then that I do in the morning and at bedtime, and then I have a short acting type of insulin that I use. I have a short acting insulin that I inject before every meal. My injection doses are pretty stable at the moment. However, when there are numbers that are kind of wonky, my dietitians and I message each other and they will adjust as needed. So I've only been adjusting like maybe certain meals like lunch or dinner. Show everyone what you're doing. She has created some type of whistle through that straw. And do you see how cute this is? This was actually at the Paradise, no, not the Paradise Garden Grill. This was actually over at the Lucky Fortune at Disney's California Adventure. They should still have it. It's only been a couple weeks since we bought this one. But anyway, so insulin, yada, yada, yada. My meals are pretty much, my breakfast is pretty much the same. I found a groove that worked for me, and you'll notice this a lot. Like if you guys are gestational diabetics, or if you are diabetic, you will figure out like what works for your body as far as metabolizing those carbs. First, for when I was pregnant with Olivia, corn tortillas worked really well as my carb. So I had a lot of tacos while I was pregnant with her. I just had to learn how to add more variety to my tacos. But once you find something that works for you, you just kind of stick with it. And then I know it gets repetitive, but hang in there, ladies. Like, it's only for like 9 months and it's for a good cause. But yeah, breakfast is pretty much the same for me every morning, and I think it's like become routine, like how I work in the kitchen. Pretty much I'll put on some hot water for decaf coffee. I make my decaf coffee with heavy cream and like 2 or 3 packets of Splenda, depending on how sweet I want it that day. But I'm a very like cream and sugar kind of girl when it comes to coffee. It's really weird because I would say the first 4 to 6 weeks of this pregnancy, I did not like the taste of coffee. I was doing iced coffee in the morning as routine for a long time, and then when I got pregnant, like suddenly I just didn't like the taste of coffee. And then for some reason, like I think after that little, you have that little like area of morning sickness, after that kind of faded, I started liking the taste of coffee again. And it's funny because I don't even finish my coffee usually. Like I'll make coffee in the morning, the decaf coffee. I'll make my decaf coffee in the morning, and like I won't really finish the coffee. Like I have to reheat it once or twice, and I probably won't finish my coffee until like close to lunchtime. For my protein, I'll usually make a couple of eggs, and that varies too. I will sometimes just fry a couple of eggs over medium, or I will scramble them. Sometimes I'll get a little fancy. I'll scramble it with some veggies. You just kind of have to like play around with those like protein ingredients. And then for my carb, I'm only allotted like 15 grams of carbs, so that's like 1 serving. for breakfast. I found out what works for me is I'll make some old-fashioned oats. I'll make some oatmeal, and literally all I do is a quarter cup of oats and a quarter cup of water. I nuke that with like just a sprinkle of salt. And then all I do is sweeten it with like a packet or two of Splenda, and then I'll add a splash of cream. Berries, I come to find, are very like low glycemic foods. Like they're very low in sugar, so I can get away with adding like a handful or two of like raspberries or blueberries or a combination of both to my breakfast. Another thing that I have been alternating with my oatmeal, because I literally have been having oatmeal every day for maybe like 2 weeks. I divvy up like my toppings. Sometimes I'll add like a spoonful of like peanut butter to it. Sometimes I'll add chopped nuts on top, the berries, like I said. So I mean, I don't know, like after a while it becomes ingrained in my dietary routine, and I don't get tired of it. I can't. I mean, sometimes, yeah, I wish I could just like grab a donut or a pastry or like have a pancake, but I'm doing it all for the safety of my little nougat in this wonderful little incubating body that I have for him. Or her, I don't know. I really don't. Guys, I will say him, I will say her. I don't know what nougat is yet. Like I've said on social media all the time, I am waiting. And my husband, we're all waiting until the baby is born to know the gender. It's exciting. It's really exciting. But anyway, my alternative. That's right. I am somehow enjoying chia pudding as well. So if I don't want my oatmeal, I will have a serving of chia pudding. And how I make that is like I make like a Tupperware full, so it's a huge like serving, and then I just kind of like measure out like a quarter cup or maybe like a little bit more than that, close to a half a cup for a serving. But what I'll do is, and I have it in the fridge, like just waiting for me, is I do about a cup of chia seeds, and I'll add to that about 4 or 5 packets of Splenda, because I like my pudding sweet, and I'll add about 2 cups of water, and a splash of heavy cream. You can omit the cream if you want in this recipe, but I just feel that the heavy cream adds like that creamy, like that traditional creamy texture that pudding would have. And then I don't know, it does thicken a lot, so I end up like adding a little bit more water and heavy cream as it sits in the fridge. Or when I serve myself, I'll add a little bit of heavy cream to that serving. The chia seeds do get nice and like a little bit more, like they mellow out as far as like crunch factor, the longer you let it sit in the fridge. So like the day old chia pudding gets really soft, kind of has that like tapioca pudding texture, which I really like. Hang on 1 second. I have to check my blood sugar for my morning meal. I figured I'd do this in front of the camera. My whole like checking my blood sugar routine. Since, you know, it's all part of my everyday life now for the next 5 months at least. I mean, you know, I'm always checking my blood sugar even when I'm not pregnant. But as a preggo, I am checking my blood sugar 4 times a day. If I feel like I'm having a low, which doesn't happen often, but it'll usually happen early in the morning, like around 4 or 5. For some reason, that's when my body decides to bottom out. You gotta check your blood sugars if you have symptoms, guys. I get really like shaky, almost clammy. No. Here, you want some? Okay. Clean, and that's it. No more. Oh my gosh, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I think that there is a cat mating with another cat, or maybe. All right. So just check my blood sugar. I never take my monitor out of the little holder, but just check my blood sugar. It is 70 after breakfast. It seems pretty low. Hey, no, don't do that. It seems pretty low. But prego numbers are way more strict than like regular average like diabetic numbers. For average like diabetic, like low is below 70. For prego, it's below 60. But I start getting symptoms a little bit below 65. So I just have to be really careful with satiating those lows if it's not below 50. Or I mean, if it's not below 60. If it's not below 60, like this one morning it was like 62 and I satiated that. I grabbed like, I don't remember what I ate. I think it was like peanut butter and like a few crackers or something. And then my morning fast was a little high. And then that made my breakfast a little higher than normal. So you just got to be careful as a prego. Don't do that. But anyway, okay, so breakfast. Oatmeal or chia pudding, and I top that with berries and nuts, or berries usually, depending if I want a crunch. And then I'll have some kind of scrambled egg or egg protein to go with my breakfast and my decaf coffee. Moving right along. I have to have between meal snacks. That is part of the diabetic diet as a prego. You constantly have to be putting specifically protein and carbs together in your body to make the insulin in your body do its thing correctly. That is as technical as I can get. I know that carbs and protein like digest differently, which is why you have to carry them together. Otherwise the insulin in your body goes all wonky. That's all I can say. I don't have the technical terms for these things, but it just works. But yeah, as far as like my snacks between meals, I have to pick a carb and I have to pick a protein. I have tons of like options, guys. Like sometimes if I have the time, I will throw together like a quesadilla. If I am on the go, I love the Faye 0% Greek yogurt. It's the plain Greek yogurt. So it literally, like, for a whole entire cup is only 5 grams of carb. So I will do that. I'll sweeten it up with a little bit of Splenda. I have invested in some sugar-free vanilla syrup. Sometimes I'll throw that in there. And then I'll top that with like a good handful of blueberries or raspberries and some nuts for crunch. I have invested in a couple of packages of like brown rice cakes. This I bought at Sprouts. Like it's a good decent like rice cake, and they are only 5 grams of carbs each. So I sometimes will grab a couple of them and I'll spread a little peanut butter on them and I'll top them off with some berries, or sometimes I'll just have it plain. But it's a good crunchy snack and it's super healthy. I have string cheese in my fridge, so sometimes I'll portion out. Watch your portions, guys. Always count and measure and weigh whatever you need to do to make sure that you are having a proper portion of carbs. But sometimes I'll portion out some pretzels or some veggie chips, and then I'll have string cheese with it. And usually that's like my go-to snack if I'm like, I know that I have to run errands and I need to pack a snack. Sometimes I'll just pack like some berries too and have that with some string cheese. So it just, well, do you want to come up or not? Come on. What is your, okay, bye. Oh, so this one night she saw my mother-in-law help my father-in-law up off the couch. And now it's a game. She wants to help people up off the couch or wherever they're sitting. Thank you. Wow. Lunch and dinner are pretty much the same, unless we're out and about and you know, I splurge a little and grab something to eat. Lunch and dinner are pretty much the same. Hey, you tell them. You express how you feel. What is going on? Yeah? Well, I'm almost done filming and then we could do whatever you want. You want to watch more Bubble Guppies? Yeah? Let's watch more Bubble Guppies. Where's the remote? Okay. Lunch and dinner. Lunch and dinner, if I am making it at home, is pretty much the same. Alright, so, lunch and dinner are pretty much the same for the most part. When I cook at home, I usually do some kind of veggies, and some kind of lean protein. Lately we've been on Disney Plus and she likes the new Mickey Mouse cartoons. Guys, trust me, they're pretty good. They're pretty good cartoons. They're shorts. They're like 4 or 5 minutes, maybe tops. But like the animation is almost crude. Like, not in a sense, like kind of, I don't know, kind of like old school, like Ren and Stimpy in a way. There are a lot of great moments in these cartoons, like as far as humor goes and innuendos, and they do a lot of, sorry, I'm like looking it up on this TV. They do a lot of references to other Disney films. So, all right. So, lunch and dinner. Lunchtime, I'll probably make like tacos or a quesadilla, and then I'll put like veggies on the side, and that'll be it. I think lunch is like 2 to 3 carbs, and dinner is 2 to 3 carbs. But I usually try to keep it to 2, and then I'll maybe have like a scoop, like a little tiny portion size, like maybe like a couple of tablespoons um of like yogurt to go with my lunch, or like chia pudding, like I said, has been like a godsend. I will sometimes get away with having some brown rice with my meal depending on how my blood sugars have been throughout the day. I usually just try to avoid flour tortilla as much as possible, but sometimes I'm in the mood for a burrito, and I'll go out to a taco shop, I'll get my burrito, and I'll cut it in half, and I'll have like half of it. I won't have extra, like, I won't put extra like potatoes or like rice in my burrito. Like, if it's a veggie burrito, I'll ask for like no rice, and I'll just chock full it up of veggies. I don't know. I've even gotten away with eating some Taco Bell. I'll just have a couple of tacos from Taco Bell, and it'll be filling enough. 7 lamb burritos from Taco Bell, but I'll ask for no rice. So it just really depends on what works for your body. But like I said, yeah, sometimes I can get away with having a taco shop burrito, and those are pretty huge in San Diego. If you don't live in the area, they're huge. I cut it in half, and then I can have the rest of it for a night snack or something. And then I have been craving a lot some Jersey Mike's. So and I will sometimes go out of my way and get a giant one. So then half of it I'll have for a lunch, and then the other 2 quarters I will have for like a night snack. I mean, those are my splurges, but usually I'll try to eat at home. And I try to incorporate a bunch of veggies. I usually have broccoli in the freezer. Yes, frozen veggies. I mean, it stays better in the freezer. I have a better shelf life with that. I mean, there are some veggies that I keep on hand fresh. I love snack, like if I'm really hungry, I will grab a couple of like baby carrots, and I'll dip it in some hummus. Um, like in between a snack and a meal, and I'm like still hungry, or I'll grab a scoop of peanut butter, and then I'll drink tons of water, tons and tons and tons of water, to try to satiate those like cravings and those like Am I hungry? Am I really just thirsty? But yeah, that's basically it. What I look forward to is my night snack. I do a really big chunk of insulin at night, and then I will have my night snack. Usually, it's just a repeat of what I've had during the day, and what I've mentioned before. I'll have like a half a sandwich, or I will have oatmeal with like berries and peanut butter. My night snack go-to is usually like the Greek yogurt with berries and nuts, and I'll like sweeten it up with Splenda. Um, Little one over here, you can see her foot, she's propping her feet up on my lap. But little one loves to partake in night snack with me, so if I have made oatmeal or yogurt, she'll share with me, which is totally fine. Another thing I like to put on my Greek yogurt, and this doesn't happen often, guys, but I can get away with it a little bit, is I'll put some dark chocolate chips on top, and literally like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 chocolate chips along with the nuts, and that's like, that satiates a little bit of my sweet craving, but I don't really crave sweets. I just sometimes wish that I can have the sweets, like if I'm at a party and like I can't have it. So that's the only frustrating thing. Like I am already brainstorming plans of like what I can eat like after this pregnancy, like after I have this child. Yeah, that is basically what I eat in a day. This pregnancy is going pretty smooth. I'm at 17 weeks, so a little past 4 months. And I'm trying to walk every day. I'm trying to stay productive. I feel like I'm already nesting, but I don't know. I think that's just my hormones. Like, I just want things clean, and I have cleaned my closet like a couple times, and I'm always cleaning out the car. My biggest task right now, and probably I'll make this a separate vlog, is my biggest task is I'm going through storage. We do have a storage unit that we're paying for every month, and my favorite thing right now is to go through storage, because sometimes I have caught myself throwing things in there and I don't even know if I'm going to keep it. So now I'm in the process of actually going through storage and tossing out things and donating things that I know that we're not going to use, because eventually we're going to move out of my in-laws' house, and I want to be able to just take things out of storage and know that we are moving them into our new home. So that is pretty much like the extent of my pregnancy right now. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Happy birthday to you. Oh, beautiful singing. All right, bye. Hey, Livy, who's that?
Daddy. Daddy.